Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend, as we're going to do our best to recap all the things that's going on over the sports weekend, not only with Razorback football, but also just college football in general. Another weekend and another bunch of coaches getting fired. That, of course, is going to be joining the mix of Arkansas looking for a new coach. So we'll get into that. We'll talk about everything that Bobby Petrino had to say in his press conference today that just got finished up and wrapped up, which is, of course, why we're going at 12:30 on Monday. So get to that and get to your chats, get to all that fun stuff. But fellas, hope you had a great weekend. How are the vibes here on this Monday afternoon?
Pretty good. You know, I feel like I haven't seen you guys in a minute. And I don't know what that means, but that's what the fellow U's and interim head coach Bobby Petrino like to say nowadays. So figured I'd get hip to the slang there, you know, like the cool kids.
Yeah, I like that. I'm in good spirits today, man. I'm gonna put my best foot forward. I'm gonna be very nice. Today's gonna be a big day for the two things can be true discourse. But I'm going out of my way to like try and make sure that I'm welcoming, inviting, healthy in my dialogue, and we're gonna have a good time. I'm not gonna let anyone steal my joy, not even the chat.
I did a two things could be true this morning on the pod at the Palace. I just call it the Andrew now. Everybody knows. It's just a thing, man.
Everybody knows, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's tensions are high, just like they always are. The longer we go in this coaching search, the longer it'll be that way. And that's why it's going to be fun to once again talk about it and everyone be very civil and nice and sweet and fun and entertaining, to say the least, because that's what we're going to, of course, get into. But looking at it from, of course, having the recap. I know you guys did the post-game show presented by SARACEN on Saturday, and of course the report card and talking about everything that's been going on there. Hearing about Patrino now turning the page towards Auburn. That's of course game going to be coming up 11:45. I guess we'll call it a morning game. It's like, flirting with it, but it's a morning game for Arkansas and Fayetteville this weekend. And according to SARACEN, man, this line it's interesting to say the least, because like when I don't know, like first, like what were you guys thinking like the line would be after Saturday? Like, did you have a number in your mind, or did you even think about it of like, it'll probably be this amount of points?
I was honestly thinking Arkansas favored by 2.5 points. I don't know. It just seems like I think about the Notre Dame game and even Tennessee, the way that moved last week against Texas A&M. I just kept feeling like, man, Arkansas is, it's a little bit closer here than I expected it to be. So I thought when you played a team that also is having its fair share of struggles here and you're at home, that you get a little bit of benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to lie to you. I am surprised that Arkansas didn't open as a slight favorite in this one.
Yeah, I thought we were all on the same page. That we thought Arkansas would be favored, not by a huge amount, maybe 2 points, 2.5, 3, something like that. Vegas has given Arkansas a lot of respect, like in the betting lines. I mean, what are they? Not even 2 touchdown underdogs in game one of Bobby Petrino against Tennessee on the road. Not even a double digit. I mean, they were barely a touchdown underdog against A&M, who's one of the best teams in the country. So just doing that math, and I know Auburn's played some good teams close, but like I just felt like Arkansas probably should have gotten the nod here. I got to be honest with you, man. Like I'm kind of in a pretzel here, because on one hand, I'm like, well, Arkansas hasn't really beaten anybody, so of course there's a lot to prove. But on one hand, I'm like, dude, if both of these teams just play the way that they've been playing, I feel like Arkansas wins this game by a touchdown at least.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of felt the same way, and at least where it stands right now, Auburn's still favored by 1.5, according to SARACEN. This is also Arkansas at the money line of plus 100, so it's kind of like that, like right there in that interesting spot. The over-under, though, set at 57.5, which is interesting because it's going to be the unstoppable force meeting an immovable object, essentially, in this game, where you have the Razorback defense, which is no doubt the worst, and also the Auburn offense, which might be the worst. So I think that's the matchup itself. But, of course, this team's got to turn the page, and Auburn's 0-4. Hugh Freeze is still coach. I was kind of thinking that maybe they'd pull the trigger on old Hugh, like everybody else. But where it stands right now, we're not going to have an interim bowl, I guess, is really what it's going to come down to. It's unfortunate. But it'd be like the most Auburn thing ever. They like fire him on Wednesday, just like nah, he's done. We're not doing this. So go ahead, Curtis. What are you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, I was excited about the prospects of the interim bowl. I am equally excited about the prospects of firing Auburn's coach for a second straight time here. By the way, did you guys know Brian Harson's? He's like the OC or something at Cal. I didn't even know he was still coaching, unless there's somebody with the exact same name. I just happened to see that the other day. I was like, really, that guy? But yeah, like Arkansas went down there and whipped up on them, and he got fired after that. Maybe Arkansas could exact a measure of revenge for some of the things that Hugh Freeze has done to Sam Pittman, in Fayetteville. But we'll see what it looks like. Yeah, this is a crazy game, and you mentioned part of it, John. Of it's Arkansas's defense, yikes. Auburn's offense, double yikes. It's also, the inverse of that, which is intriguing as well. Like Arkansas really, really potent offensively. Auburn's defense is nasty. Like I will give them credit for that. Both of these teams have been losing all these games by one score. Like it's kind of like looking in a mirror, which is frustrating. Here's the biggest thing to keep an eye on. I don't know if Quinn, if he's watching Hugh Freeze's press conference or something, he wants to come in here and give us some notes. But I think he acknowledged after the game on Saturday when they lost in just ridiculous fashion to Missouri that he might be open to a change at quarterback. So we could be doing the backup quarterback thing again. That's going to completely change my prediction. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, this is very much the theme of today, of this week's game is we're not that bad, right? And I feel like every year you go into a season and you have your feeling of where you think your team ranks, where they should be ranked, what type of teams you're kind of looking at. Week one, you're looking at LSU and Clemson play, and you're kind of saying, all right, could we beat either one of those teams? You're kind of viewing yourself on that platform. Then as the year goes on, you kind of start lowering that and, well, let's take a look at A&M. Well, let's take a look at Kentucky. Let's see, you start going down the line. I think Auburn fans, likely, I don't know, we haven't talked to Quinn. I would imagine Auburn fans are clearly not happy with their season, but they got to be looking at Arkansas saying, well, at least we're not that bad, right? We'll be able to beat an interim coach Arkansas team, right? And Arkansas fans are doing the same thing. We're looking over at Auburn and we're like, yeah, I know we couldn't beat A&M and I know we couldn't beat Tennessee on the road, but like with this new thing we got going on, we're better than Auburn, right? Like neither team sees the other team as an acceptable loss. And both teams have had their fair share of moral victories, losing close to Missouri, losing close to Georgia, losing close to A&M, losing close to Tennessee. There is no moral victory this weekend. You lose this game this weekend, no matter who you are. If you're Auburn, that is unequivocally the moment you fire Hugh Freeze. And if you're Arkansas, that's the moment you look at it and say, oh, dang, we really are going to have to blow this whole thing up and start from scratch.
Yeah, like I look at it where with the Hugh Freeze thing, as a Razorback fan, I'm glad that he's still the coach because my hope is like, hey, maybe this week happens to be the same thing that happened in Arkansas the Notre Dame week, where they're like, hey, my coach is fired, I'm done, right? I'm quitting, moving on, and then you kind of get that little, because I don't want the interim bump, in this game. Like I don't want the interim energy from Auburn. If Arkansas wants to win, I mean, you want to win no matter what, but it's like, you'll take any advantage you can possibly get. And I think that, Arkansas and the way that they've played, and I think Texas A&M had a good defense. I feel pretty confident Arkansas will be able to score points against Auburn's defense. Not saying that they'll be just running through them like sliced bread or, crap through a tin horn, whatever Nick Saban used to say. But I think that it'll be at least a good matchup in that regard. And like you said, Curtis, it's funny looking in the mirror because they are so similar, but it's ones with the offense and ones with the defense. That's what makes it so weird. Yeah. It's like, it's not like, they're just similar in every respect. It's like, no, Auburn's, I'm sure, because they're over there probably saying, if we just had an offense, if we just had just one player that was really good offensively, we'd win these games. And Arkansas's over here saying, man, if we just had one defensive player that just, if we had Landon Jackson on this team, like it just make a difference. So there is a lot of similarities, but the biggest similarities, of course, both teams are 0-4 in the SEC and looking for their very first SEC win. It's just going to be a matter of, does Arkansas put the final nail in the coffin for old Hugh Freeze? Or, because that's the thing too, speaking of firing coaches or making them fire coaches after two separate times, it'll be kind of funny too, because Arkansas seems to have had a huge impact on old Hugh, keeping him out of the SEC title game at Ole Miss, just the different aspects there. I mean, there's, again, a lot of things that's going to make this game so fascinating, but it's probably why the line is so close. And I'll be curious. Do you guys think that it'll probably shift over to Arkansas being favored by the end of the week? I think it will.
Maybe so. I mean, I would think so. I don't know. I keep going back and forth on it because I like Arkansas's chances here, but I've felt this way so many times in this series in the past. For whatever reason, it just seems like the home team never comes to play. in this series. And, I remember a handful of years ago, Arkansas was favored at home against Auburn. It was the first time they were favored in an SEC game and God knows how long. And they just completely laid an egg. It was just like a poor performance by Arkansas. A couple years later when they came here and Arkansas just got their ass kicked. If you remember that was like right when we were thinking, oh, they're going to let Sam go. This is a couple years ago even. And it's been the same thing on the other end. Like Arkansas has gone down there and whipped up on them a couple times. They had the weird Hank Brown game, but there's just so much that goes into like Peyton Thorne has randomly looked like a really good quarterback against Arkansas. Remember when Bo Nix sucked like before he went to Oregon and became really good? And he came to Fayetteville and had that game where he just diced the Razorbacks up. And you're just like, wow, this is the epitome of Arkansas making average look exceptional. And so now I'm just looking at Jackson Arnold going, or whoever the hell they put at quarterback going, yeah, this defense is probably ripe for it, man. So I'm going to go back and forth all week on this, I feel like.
Speaking of Bo Nix, that's a little tease. I got a little Bo Nix reference queued up in my best and worst of the weekend. But no, I'm with you, Curtis. And John, to answer your question, like I would have, if you would have asked me yesterday, I would have said yes, the line would probably move towards Arkansas. But I looked at it yesterday and it was Auburn -1. I look at it today, it's Auburn -1.5. And I know a half point is like crazy movement, not really the end of the world or anything. It's not uncommon for lines to move one direction and then move back the other. So it's still possible. But I kind of thought that this would be a line that all the bettors in the world would look at and say, oh, this is off. And that has not been the case so far. One thing that's interesting to me is that the over-under is at 57.5.
Yeah.
Which now, as we know, Arkansas's over-unders are always very high. We've had them in the 60s, and they've hit without even being a discussion before. I think it's interesting, like that 57.5 number, that's kind of leads you to a 30-28, 31-27 type of game, and they have Auburn favored in that game. I just think that's interesting. I don't really have a, say that's right or wrong. I just think that's interesting that Vegas does think there are going to be a decent amount of points scored, and they don't think that's going to favor Arkansas.
Yeah, no, it's again, this game is coming down to a whole lot. Like there's going to be a lot going on with it. And I know we're going to talk about it throughout the week, and we'll get to some of the things that Bobby Petrino, speaking of the Auburn team, and especially how he feels about the offense of Auburn here in just a second. I want to remind everybody that Drain Masters of Arkansas are the best and the best when it comes to all of your plumbing and drain cleaning needs, especially with all the storms and all the rain that's coming through. There's a lot of places that may be there in your yard or out there with anything that's going on with plumbing. And it could be having some clogs and causing some problems for you. Or maybe after just having a great weekend of a lot of beverages and a lot of certain foods that, some things are going on inside of your bathroom that you don't really want to let the missus know about. Well, don't worry about it, because you can call the best, the masters. That's why they call them the Drain Masters, because they are the masters of plumbing and drain cleaning. And you can call them today to request a service at 479-646-5585. That's 479-646-5585. Also scan that QR code on your screen. It'll take you right to their website of drainmastersfortsmith.com. But they service Arkansas and Oklahoma and the River Valley, all across the place. So be sure to call them and be sure to tell them that Inside Arkansas sent you to get 10% off all of your services. You're not going to get a better deal than that. And that's what happens when you partner up with Arkansas, Inside Arkansas. You're going to get the best deal. So anything and everything plumbing related, no job is too big or too small. Drain Masters of Arkansas has you covered. All right, so speaking of Arkansas and Auburn and the Auburn offense, Bobby Petrino in this press conference today was asked about Jackson Arnold, quarterback, used to be at Oklahoma, now at Auburn, and the struggling offense that is. Well, I think Bobby Petrino put it pretty succinctly.
They've been struggling with their offense. There's no question about that, and they ran the ball pretty well last week. Running back looked good, running the football, and they've got a receiver that we really have to understand where he's lined up, and he's a special player, kid I'm very, very familiar with out of high school. We actually had him committed to us at A&M. He's probably as good a receiver as there is in the entire country, so we have to know where he's at every play and how we're going to slow him down and take away his free access and make sure they, have to beat us left-handed. So, but I think it's a situation where, we've got to do obviously improve this week in practice and make sure we know what they're trying to do scheme-wise so that we can defend what they like to do.
He's not going to say in a press conference. Do you think Petrino's just looking at Auburn being like, thank the good Lord that we get to finally face an offense that is so inept that our defense may actually have a chance in this game?
It's probably exactly what he's thinking. It's by the way, that's interesting. He was talking about making them play left-handed. Wasn't it former UAB coach Trent Dilfer that was saying the things Bobby Petrino does scheming up an offense makes you have to defend them as if you're eating your soup left-handed? I think that's what he said. So I don't know if that's just a common phrase around coaches or if Bobby heard that and was like, hell yeah, I'm going to use that when I get the opportunity. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what it looks like. I don't know what to think about this defense in terms of looking for reasons for them to suddenly become overly productive. I certainly don't think, even with Auburn's struggles and they've been, significant on the offensive side of the football, I just don't see a pathway for Arkansas's defense to like shut them down or anything. You just hope it's enough to where, your offense, me and Andrew talked about this a lot on the post game or the report, the report card also. People are saying you're just going to have to outscore teams. You're going to have to outscore teams. If your defense is getting scored on every single possession, your offense also has to be perfect. Like you can't have one turnover. You can't have one punt. You can't settle for a field goal one time. It's kind of crazy. Maybe this is a situation where you can string together enough to where you could overcome the occasional mistake, stalled drive, whatever, and get out of there with a win. But they got to find a way to get it done.
Yeah. Speaking of the whole left-handed thing, I've actually watched Jackson Arnold play quarterback a few times and come away with a theory that he actually might be left-handed watching him try and throw a football. But you're 100% right, Curtis. In terms of the mentality that you go into a football game with, if you're Arkansas, it's very much built on, hey, we're going to have to score a lot. We know our defense isn't going to put us in a good spot. I also think if you take this to the Auburn side, what is Auburn? Every Auburn fan who thinks they're going to beat Auburn, what are they telling themselves right now? They're saying, well, Arkansas's got this great offense, but we've got a good defense. This game is not going to be a 38-37 shootout where our offense is going to have to score a ton. We're just going to make this a slugfest. And so I think that's going to play in the first quarter. We're going to find out which team is playing their style of football, which one is going to win out. Like if this ends up being a 14-10 first quarter, I think Auburn's going to be looking at that and being like, oh, crap. We are in trouble. As bad as this Arkansas defense is, I think Auburn has less confidence in their offense. Obviously, Arkansas doesn't have any confidence in their defense, but to the point you're making, Curtis, that's never been part of the plan. It's never like we've gone in the game being like, oh yeah, we're going to win if our defense plays well. You just kind of need the defense to make a couple stops. And so I think the mental gymnastics are going to be very important on both sides. And I think it could, if Auburn early isn't able to shut down this Arkansas offense, I think that pressure is going to be on their side a little bit more.
Yeah, and I'll also throw this in, which I kind of tweeted about it on Saturday, but against A&M, it was just like the defense is what it is. You're not a good defense. There's nothing you can do about it. You're just not a good defense. Your best defense right now is luck. Just like that one play, that one errant throw by the quarterback, that one offensive lineman that misses an assignment that opens up Quincy Rhodes to hit the quarterback at the right time. Like it's luck is what you're going to come down to. And, I felt like on Saturday, and I know you guys talked about it, but it's like that fourth down and short in the fourth quarter for A&M when you hit the guy in the backfield, but the second effort got the first down. I was like, that was the play. You needed to do one play. That was it. And you couldn't come up with it. And so it's like you just got to have one of those. And I know that sounds so stupid and no one wants to hear it as far as, hey, the defense just needs to get lucky in order enough to make a play. But that's what it is right now. And let's be honest, too. I'm sure Auburn, and assuming that maybe they want Hugh Freeze fired or maybe they just want to win, but they're looking at Arkansas being like, man, finally, we get to go up against a defense that's so bad. Maybe our offense is going to finally step up. Like they're looking at Arkansas the same way. So it's just a matter of, who's going to do what. But, Arkansas, you talked about, Curtis, like the offense having to play so not like picture perfect, essentially. If it wasn't for the fact that they had no turnovers and everything, like this game, would have been 2-3 possession losses. Like you needed every single thing you could do. And it's just frustrating where, you go into the game. If I would have told you against A&M, hey, you're going to score 42 points. You're going to have over 500 yards offense and you're not going to have a turnover. You'd probably be like, man, I think Arkansas wins that game. You feel a little confident. And I'm saying this against Auburn. What if I told you against Auburn? Arkansas is going to score 42 points. They're going to have 500 yards and they're not going to turn the ball over. It's like, yeah, I think they would win, but I don't know. Just it's a very, weird dynamic, and I hate having the defense to look at it that way, but I feel like you have to. You just have to get lucky. You just have to have that one play that can help you out.
Right. And I'm going to be interested to see what, Arkansas has schemed up defensively. Like it is funny, man. I keep thinking about the post-game show and, like some of the questions that were asked of us, the things we were talking about. And it's like, damn, should Arkansas just attempt an onside kick every time? Like just do whatever you can to keep your defense off the field. But I think about like Auburn's struggles offensively, and some of it, like Jackson Arnold just doesn't feel like he is confident pulling the trigger. Like he just does. It's like he doesn't want to throw the football. But he will run. And so that bothers me a little bit. Arkansas struggles with that at times. I think a big part, like I think back to that Oklahoma game, some of the reasons that they've struggled a little bit. They lead the SEC in sacks allowed, but then you look at it and you're like, Arkansas ain't getting no pressure, man, against teams. So what's going to give there? So yes, bad offense against a bad defense. And you think, well, maybe it'll even out some, but some of the things that have, really cost Auburn, you haven't really taken advantage of with other teams. And the certain areas that they found a little bit of success, you struggled with. And I saw, and we'll get to Quinn's super chat, I'm sure, but he's saying, hey, like, do you guys get pressure on the quarterback? No, Arkansas doesn't. And, how are you defending the run? Because if Auburn's able to establish the run, that offense actually becomes serviceable. And, well, you're not stopping it at all. So I don't know, man. We'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, when Bobby first took over as head coach and they started asking him about some of the things they were going to do defensively to try and switch things up. We talked about the stance, we talked about the alignment, eyes in the backfield, blah, blah, blah. Really, the premise is you just needed to put teams in a position to where they have to make plays, where it's not like you're having these huge breakdowns and there's guys wide open. Force the opponents to make plays. Now, the last 2 weeks, Arkansas has faced some good offenses who, frankly, have just made a lot of plays against a bad Arkansas defense. And that is still going to happen every single week for the rest of the season. Teams are going to make plays against Arkansas because Arkansas does not have an SEC defense. Like that is, you just don't have the advantages at most positions. But I think that has to be the mentality here with Arkansas against Auburn is make Auburn make plays. And like Tennessee, like A&M, they will make some plays. You mentioned Jackson Arnold's legs. He will convert a few third downs with his legs. He will make a few plays. I mean, it's a former 5-star. He's not completely incompetent. He will make some plays. There's actually some really good talent at receiver at Auburn. I know they're out with their center, but like there actually is – it's not just a completely inept unit. There's a lot of weird things going on. They're going to make their plays. But I think if Arkansas can get Jackson Arnold and Auburn in a situation where they have to make as many plays as possible and they're not having these huge explosive 60-yard touchdowns, and it just comes down to, hey, drive to drive, you're going to have to make good decisions. And if you do, you will beat our defense because we're not very good. But I think if you put Jackson Arnold in a position where he has to consistently make plays and consistently make good decisions, historically he has shown he will not do that.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Well, we're going to do get to your chats, folks. Also, our Alumni Hall question of the day and play a clip from Bobby that has to do with it. But I want to remind everybody that Alumni Hall is the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. It's the #1 Razorback shopping. I mean, there's just nowhere else to go when it comes to getting the best of the best apparel, when it comes to the best jerseys, the hats for men, women, and kids, everything. And fun fact, we're going to be live from Alumni Hall this Friday from 12 to 2, where if you come in and you hang out with us and you say, hey, what's up? I love you guys' content. And you're really nice to us. They're going to give you 20% off. Actually, they give you 20% off anyways if you just come in and say Hawks by 20. Just say Hawks by 20, you get 20% off. But it's a bonus if you're really nice to us and you say what's up to us. But that's going to be happening this Friday. We're going to tell you about all the great things that's going on with a big Woo Pig weekend, as they call it, because we're going to have Razorback basketball and an exhibition game on Friday night. And of course, we're going to have Razorback football against Auburn on Saturday. So get ready for that great weekend with the best Razorback apparel. It's Alumni Hall. You can shop them online right now at insidearkansas.com/alumni hall. And for the Alumni Hall question of the day, guys, I will admit it's one of those things where I see a bunch of other places do their questions of the day, and I'm like, I'm not going to do the same crap. So what I decided was just talking about one possession games, because as we know, Arkansas still continues to lose those. But if the final 5 games of the season, the final 5 games, if I told you that every single one of them are going to end in a one possession game, how many of those games do you feel Arkansas wins? 0, 1, 2 to 3, or 4 to 5? And as of right now, I don't know why, 2 to 3 wins is at 42% leading the way. I have no idea why.
Am I living in an alternate reality here?
I don't know, man.
I'll take the coin flip in your direction once, maybe. I'll go 1. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So hold on.
30.
The question is,
Or
if
2. Like
5
3 is a bridge too far for me.
So we're saying if Auburn is a 1-possession game, Mississippi State is a 1-possession game, LSU, Texas, and Missouri are all 1-possession games. I say Arkansas wins 2 of those probably.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. Because to me, I
think everything about that is fair except probably.
Yeah.
but I think they can win 2 of those.
Well, I think for me,
I mean, Auburn and Mississippi State are going to be like 1 or 2 point spreads. Like those two right there, that's 2 coin flips right off the bat. And then if the remaining 3 games are all 1 possession, obviously it's very likely Arkansas just loses 1 possession games against every team they play. It would almost certainly have to come from Auburn and Mississippi State to win those 2.
Yeah. And that's where I'm at, where it's like, I think 2 would be the maximum for me. But I'm with Curtis. I'd say 1, just because, dead clock's right twice a day. At some point in time, you feel like you'll break through. But that's at 32.5% says 1. 20% say 0, like no games. And then only 7% say 4 to 5, which it's tough. The Twitters only allow so many choices. So I had to make a decision there. But still, we'll just go ahead and give the benefit of the doubt to the voters that the 2 to 3 votes that got the votes is for 2. We won't say that they'll do 3. So, the thing is Bobby Petrino was asked about those 1 possession games and, or the 1 possession losses, especially, and how he approaches that and how he views it, and had kind of some funny remarks about it as well.
Yeah, I try not to think all the way back to some of those games where you feel like you should have walked off the field with the win and just concentrating on, what we're doing now. But what we need to do now is be a little bit more consistent driving the ball and scoring touchdowns when we get in the red zone. When we have to settle for a field goal and take 3 points, I think it really hurts our opportunity to win the game. We've got to come up with some of the 3rd down and 4th down stops that could flip the game right there and give us that chance to go score get another possession and find a way to win the game. We've got to get some turnovers. We haven't had a turnover in a as the young kids say, we haven't had a turnover in a minute. Whatever the heck that means. But my grandkids say it, it's been a minute, and I'm like, a minute? Feels like a year. We got to get some turnovers. Get some turnovers, we'll be a lot better.
That may be the funniest thing I've ever heard Bobby Petrino say.
It has been a year. Arkansas has 0 turnovers forced in an SEC game this season. That's obviously last in the league, just like they have 1 sack in an SEC game this season. That's last in the league. They have 8 TFLs in SEC games this season. That's last in the league, which is why I think he led off the right way when he was answering that question, saying, yeah, we can't settle for field goals. We have to score touchdowns every drive or it really hurts our chance to win. That's where we're at about perfection offensively. He thinks in his mind, at least this is how I'm interpreting this from the way he answered that question and what he started with. In his mind, he believes that it's more realistic for them to play perfect offensively versus just get a little bit better defensively. And that's just where you're at. I love it. It's been a minute.
You nailed it because, listen, Arkansas eventually in the last 5 games, there will be a turnover that lands in Arkansas's lap. Whether they force it or it just happens, there will be a turnover here and there. Hell, I'll even say they're probably going to sack an SEC quarterback one of these days. Like, they might do that. But you cannot go into games assuming that is going to happen if you're Bobby Petrino. You cannot go into games with that as part of your plan of like, all right, here's how we're going to do to win. We're going to get 3 sacks, 2 turnovers. Like, you have to just be happy when they show up, but you have to be operating on that offensive side of the football as if it's not going to show up, because why would you not? I mean, it literally has not happened to this point. You just have to go in assuming you have to score a touchdown on every possession. And then if you get a couple turnovers and you have a 10-point lead, maybe we can adjust. But for now, 7 on every drive has to be like not only the goal, but just like what you have to prepare for.
Yeah. And it was, again, on Saturday, I know we're talking about Saturday, but it was so frustrating knowing that, statistically speaking, we talked about in the pregame show, Texas A&M was the dead last worst team in red zone defense. They gave up a touchdown every time. And guess what happened? Arkansas went to the red zone twice in the beginning of the game and scored 2 field goals. It's like, you just can't have that. And that's what makes this such, it's a cliche, but the margin of error is so small, but it's true. It's like with this Razorback football team, They cannot make any mistakes. And it's a crazy thing to even think about, because there are so many teams that we've even seen in Razorback history where, hey, you can make a mistake and still win. It's like with Arkansas, I look at them right. They can't make one. They can't make one mistake. And it's so unfair to hold a team to a standard like that. But it's just the reality. It's like, if you're going to win, you can't have a mistake. Again, you didn't turn the ball over and you had over 500 yards of offense and you still didn't win at home. It's just, you got to be able to overcome those things and those penalties in those tough spots too. Hitting the guy in the backfield on 4th down. You can't afford to make any mistakes. And it's just like, it's an unfair standard, but it's the reality of what this team has to have happen.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. And it's Andrew, I'm with you. Like, eventually you're gonna have a break go your way. But man, it is kind of crazy how it hasn't yet. Like, you think about the Braylon Russell fumble at Tennessee, how it was just a random thing. There was nothing you could do about that. That wasn't his fault. Just the helmet perfectly placed on the football at the perfect time, and it squeaks out of there. Or, just a guy being a little bit careless with it on the other end, a tipped ball at the line of scrimmage. There's so many different ways you can get it without just making an athletic and a really great defensive play. And Arkansas can't even get that right now, man. Like, that's a very frustrating deal. And just think about the shot in the arm it could have been in either one of these last 2 games to have been able to come up with something that you don't even really force, you just take advantage of, and they're not getting that either. It's brutal, man.
That's why, like, as much as I am doing, like, I obviously I'm not going into any of these games expecting Arkansas to win a 1-possession game or expecting them to force a ton of turnovers. But I do think it's a little ridiculous when some people act like it's like Arkansas is incapable of beating any of these teams left on their schedule. Like, it's very, because not that Arkansas is going to do anything to force them. It just, when you play this game long enough, things just kind of flip in your direction. One of the last turnovers I can remember Arkansas forcing was, I think, against Memphis, where there was a miscommunication between the quarterback and the receiver, and Julian Neal gets like a fair catch interception where it's like he's the only guy down there. Obviously, maybe things like that aren't going to happen all the time, but it's like there's got to be some type of positive luck, whether it comes in the field goal, special teams department, the turnover department, a miscommunication on the other side. Like, there has to be something going Arkansas's way. And so it's kind of crazy because, like, I think once Bobby Petrino took over, if we had told you that they were going to lose by whatever it was, 3 or 4 against Tennessee and lose by 3 against A&M, you probably would have assumed, oh, so did they get some things going their way? It's like, no, actually, they really didn't. Like, actually, nothing really broke their direction.
Yeah. Again, dead clock's right twice a day. At some point in time, something's going to break, is what you feel like. At least that's what you're hoping for. So we'll have some other clips, which also get into your chats, folks. But want to remind everybody that here on Inside Arkansas, we're presented by our friends over at Hickey and Hole Law. We know that when dealing with law instances and legal instances, it's tough to go through. It's stuff that you may not want to think about. Think of the small details that are needed, especially when it comes to the important things like divorce cases, custody cases, criminal cases. You need help. You need people that know what they're doing and doing it to the best of their ability and going to guide you through every step of the way. That's what Hickey and Hole Law does for you. They have offices all across the state of Arkansas, and that's why they're partners with us here at Inside Arkansas, because we only want to be a part of the best, and they are the best. So give Hickey and Hole a call today for all of your legal needs when it comes to everything here in Arkansas. 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. You can also check out their website at hickeyandhole.com. Visit hickeyandhole.com and scan that QR code right there on your screen. It's Hickey and Hole Law. Things are about to get better. Okay, we'll have some clips, but we'll get to some of your chats, though, too. We got to, of course, go to the super chats. Got to start first. You got to start from CA Angler. Says, I want to give a shout-out to Razorback fans and team for as a great game as an ag. The Hogs always give A&M a run for their money. Wish the best for the team. Shut up. I don't care about this. I literally don't. I hate this. Yeah, you can say that, because I guarantee you, CA Angler, you would not be in here giving us $5 if Arkansas would have won this game and saying, like, man, what a great matchup. So you're saying it because you won, but I'm messing with you. It's appreciated.
He's big broing us. He's trying to big bro us. That's what he's doing.
Would have been salty if Arkansas ruined their season. It did. Yeah. Mike Elko did say after the game, he was like, it doesn't matter where this is played, when it's played, how, like, this is just the way it's going to be with Arkansas A&M. He might be right about that, but that's an easy thing to say and then go on about your day with when you win the damn game every time. So,
I'm glad more people are realizing that, because it's like, again, Chad Morris played 2 1-possession games against A&M, and so it's like, for as much credit as we are giving Arkansas for playing A&M for a one-score game, and seriously, like there is something to be said about that. I think it's a little bit smaller than we're getting. Like people are doing victory laps over a one-possession loss against A&M. It's like, dude, literally anyone could lose by one possession to A&M in an Arkansas uniform.
Yeah, like that's like what I laugh about is like you can say that you can do all that, and Elko's saying it's how it is. Yeah, it's going to be that same way where you guys always just win barely, but great. Like what a great game. That's the game everyone wants to watch. Is when one team wins every single time by one possession. It's just college football. It's what people want to see.
And then when Arkansas did win, it wasn't even by one possession. They won. I think it was 20-10.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so obnoxious, but. Also, A&M, there was a lot of bad. I'll give Aggie fans credit. There was a lot of them there, even for the Storm. All the fans were great, which I know we'll talk about for best worst of the weekend. But Aggies were there. They showed out, and everyone's like, man, I hate how many Aggie fans are here. It's like, dude, there'd be a ton of Razorback fans in College Station if Arkansas was undefeated and number 4 in the country. I mean, it's just like when you get good teams, you're going to have a lot of people, a lot of fans from the opposing team show up. Okay, Quinn's on one. Let's get to his super chats. He says, says it's going to be the bleep show game, which I love. He doesn't censor himself on Twitter, but yeah, when he goes to our chat,
he also sometimes will drop F-bombs in super chats. So it's like, but poop, you can't say that.
Yeah. Maybe he's turned over a new leaf. Maybe this week, since we get to pick him up from the airport and hang out with him, he's going to keep it clean for us.
No, his last chat, it was not a super chat, but there was an F-bomb in it. So
okay, good. It's cracked me up.
Love Quinn, man.
We love Quinn. Quinn also says we have an offensive talent. We have offensive talent. It's a coaching issue, is what
I agree with this.
Yeah, that was part of the reason I bought into Auburn preseason. Not bought in, but I was like, hey, Auburn could be an 8-4 type of team. They went out and got some dudes in the portal, and I know their offensive line's a little bit banged up, but like their playmakers on offense are pretty talented. I mean, even Jackson Arnold is a former 5-star, even though he does suck.
Yeah. Poor Jackson Arnold, man. Yeah, they do. They've got a couple of receivers over there that I actually really like, but if you're physically incapable of throwing them the football.
By the way, I know it's harsh to say a college quarterback sucks, and these are kids and blah blah blah. One, he's getting paid over $1 million to play quarterback. So if he sucks, he sucks. He also did the thing. Did y'all see that clip of him after the OU game where he was like pointing at OU students and he was like, "You wish you were me. You wish you were me." It's like you just threw for 93 yards against Oklahoma, against a team that benched you and kicked you out of town, and we wish we were you. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
so I don't feel bad for being mean to Jackson Arnold, honestly.
Yeah, I honestly don't either. Quinn also says, I think it'll be whoever gets to 27 first. I think our defense can hold y'all to under 30, which, might be possible.
I don't think it's crazy. I also, like I was saying earlier, I think that's the premise. If Auburn is talking themselves into winning this game, it's got to be, hey, we're going to be able to limit this Arkansas offense a little bit. I don't think Auburn's path to victory is we're going to score a ton of points and outscore you.
Yeah. Quinn also says, if we have success running the ball in this game, we just need to run it. Do y'all get any pass rush?
No. None at all, actually, in SEC games, literally. So,
in fact, they could rush 6 and still not get there. So you should have good with that. Quinn also says, Freeze is known to go away from something that works. So if we are having success in one area, we have to stick with it. Well, Freeze is still the coach, so maybe he won't do that. Quinn also says, is it supposed to rain on Saturday? That might actually play into our hands. I haven't checked the weather, but of course I jinxed it last time. But yes.
I thought Saturday would be the official end of, does the weather help us? Does the weather hurt us? It's like a lot of times it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. In fact, I saw that it's like, of course, the game that it is like moist and wet outside is when Arkansas doesn't have any turnovers. It's amazing. But
exactly.
As of right now, there is chances of rain, but it's ever changing. Hatch says, what is your opinion on the holding call the Aggie fans were crying about yesterday? I don't care. They can cry all day long.
Was it Corey Robinson holding the dude's face mask?
I
think it was that edge rusher, the Cassius guy, who's really good. I think one of the A&M accounts tweeted out a picture of him rushing the passer, and Corey Robinson just like had a handful of face masks.
I gotcha. I didn't know which one they were talking about. I saw one right before we started. And it was when it was 45-35, and I think Marcel Reed had a long touchdown run that got called back, and I saw people complaining about that. That would have made it 52 or whatever. Either or, I don't know.
Yeah. Say, did you win the game? Then shut up. Like, don't be crying about a call.
Yeah, I mean, are we?
Yeah, it's like, what do you want to happen? You want us to say, you know what? That should have been a touchdown. The game has now been declared. 52-42 final score. Congratulations.
Yeah, they want Greg Sankey and the SEC to make a statement after
officially not a one-score loss for Bobby Petrino.
That's right. Arkansas says, spoiler alert, Vandy is number 2 in power ratings this week. Okay, I can't wait to see it. Yeah, shout out to Vanderbilt.
They earned it, man.
They should be.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They're going to beat Missouri this week. It's College Game Day is going there, right? The Vandy.
Yes.
Or the I think Missouri. I think it's who they're playing. Yeah.
But Arkansas could never be that. If you think that, you're a moron.
We have just gone full everything when the College Game Day is going to a Vanderbilt Missouri game.
Hey, but you know why Vanderbilt's having success, guys? Because the guy who's coaching them went to Vanderbilt. That is what you have to have.
It's true.
You have to have a guy with ties to your university. That's the only way to succeed in college football.
That is the difference. Jason's over here just calling us shy. Says, we will beat Auburn, Mississippi State, and Texas. Book it.
Okay.
Sounds good. We'll take it. We'll make it happen. Quinn also says, in about 51 hours, I'll be in Fayetteville. Yeah, I know we're scared. No, Quinn. It'll be good to see you. It'll be good to hang out with you. And we're going to show, because maybe you guys can remember, is this his first time in Fayetteville? Or has he been here before? I can't remember.
I don't think he has. I could be wrong. He definitely hadn't been to a game, I don't think.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure for that.
He'll have a better time in Fayetteville than he did in Norman.
Yeah.
Yes. I think everybody can say that too. Even Baker Mayfield says that. Heartbroken Hog says Josh Pate took Arkansas plus the points as a best bet and said confidently we will beat Auburn. Stay.
I just wouldn't have done that if I was him, but I appreciate the energy.
I do love that, like, Pate could literally bomb a building in the state of Arkansas, and then the next week he could be like, man, I like Arkansas against the spread, and Arkansas fans will just get right back to right on that ass, man. It's crazy.
Let's see about Ryan says, so is the number of wins BP must get to the job to get the job going down?
Yes.
No, because he hasn't won any games.
Yeah.
But in reality, yes, because everyone else is firing their coach and stuff. But okay, let's just talk about that right now. For you guys personally, because 2 weeks ago we had this conversation and we were like, hey, Bobby's the interim. There's a clear path for him being the head coach. If he wins 4, no doubt about it. If he wins 3, looking pretty good. 2 or fewer, probably not going to make it work. Has that changed for y'all? Do y'all think the 2 wins against Auburn and Mississippi State, would that be enough for you to be like, all right, go ahead and hire him?
It wouldn't be enough for me, but just where I feel like the conversations are headed. And then now you're starting to hear national sources. Like yesterday, they were doing the breaking thing for Florida, and it was Bud Elliott and Chip Patterson. They're both like, yeah, man, I think Bobby's going to get it. That conversation just continues to change here. He's not going to be able to go over and get the job. I just don't think you can do that. But if he wins 2 in a row, I things could get very, very interesting here. Let me say again, ain't good enough for me, man. All right. It's not. My thought process hasn't changed on this. If he gets 3 wins, then I think it's something they'll have to really look at. You got to consider the rest of the, the market and the carousel and all that. 4, they would probably give him the job, and I wouldn't complain about it too much at that point, but I would not rule out, if he wins back-to-back here these next 2 weeks, that he's done enough in the eyes of the people making decisions here.
See, and what's crazy is, of course, doesn't matter what I say because everyone just thinks I'm, want Bobby to have the job no matter what happens. But I'm feeling like if with you, Curtis, as far as if they win the next 2, I think they're going to take that interim tag off in the bye week and get to put the staff together, get the recruiting back, and just get things back on board regardless of what happens. I believe that.
I always forget about the bye week.
Yeah, but I also agree where it's like if they hire him after those 2 games, I'm not going to be like, oh man, brilliant decision, the right move. This is exactly what needs to. Because it's going to be like, man, because you go 0-3 in the final 3 games, like cool.
4-8 on the year, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, like it just doesn't happen that way. Like it doesn't make me feel good. But I get it that if they, the bye week and knowing that, hey, you got recruiting got to get on top of, you got to get to the point where, you're putting packages together for NIL and transfer portals coming up, and, players right now are thinking, okay, what do I need to do? So it's like, I get it, but yeah, it's not, if he wins these next 2 and then Even if they don't beat LSU in Texas, but if they beat Missouri to end the year, kind of to just be like the finally getting off your back and winning your home game, it's like, all right, that's a good little lasting thing.
I think the three of us are pretty close to a line on this, in that like we aren't necessarily there where we're like, hey, give them the job and let's do it. But we kind of see how this is trending, like you mentioned, Curtis. I'm with you, John, that if they win these next two games, which it wouldn't be the end of the world, but it is something, and then you beat Missouri to end the year. For me personally, that would be enough for me to be like, all right, you know what, like that's good enough. Like we'll make it work, and it won't be a long-term 10-year deal, but we can make this thing work. It is just fascinating how like we've been saying all along, hey, let's just let this thing play out. We've gotten to the point now, the conversation has gotten so polarizing and hostile. People are determined to not let it play out. Like everyone is like, hey, we got to make a decision tomorrow, and we got to live with that decision no matter what. And I'm just like, damn, I just wish we weren't in this situation.
Do you think that's a product of just like other jobs opening? You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, okay, Florida opens, and so all of a sudden you're going, all right, well, if they want somebody we're after, then we're screwed. And people look at Auburn, and I know Florida State for some reason gave the vote of confidence to Mike Norvell, but like all these other jobs, and people keep saying, like you like whether it's Brett McMurphy or whoever on a daily basis, they'll tweet. It's like, this is gonna be the craziest coaching carousel ever. This is gonna be ridiculous. Buckle up. And so I wonder if Razorback fans are like, shit, man, maybe we should just, bite the bullet here and take our medicine and see what we can do with the old flame there.
So yes, this absolutely, like that's a factor. And should it be 100% of the decision making? No, but it is a percentage. Like I don't know what that percent is, but I've seen a lot of cases for Patrino have been along the lines of, well, could we do any better? Could we do much better? I mean, you got all these jobs open, so like we might as well just resign ourselves. And that's to me, like, even though logically it makes sense of the idea of, hey, if you're going to take a chance on some young, super unproven guy, you might as well hire Bobby. That's not a crazy statement. But what is a crazy statement is not giving yourself a chance. And that's what I think Arkansas would be doing if they committed to Bobby right now or in the next 2 to 3 weeks, when you still have time on the clock and time for this thing to play out. I don't think the fans should be resigning themselves to, hey, this is the best we're going to do. I think you should be pressuring your athletic department to take the biggest swing possible. And then if that swing misses and you get down and it's a 1-2 count, okay, let's shorten up our approach and let's work the other way. But like, it's 0-0 right now, maybe even a 1-0 count. Why would we not try and hit a home run? We're not in 2-strike mode just yet. But fans seem to like they just want to make the decision right now. And so they're like, hey, we can't do any better. We're probably going to strike out. Let's just see if we can poke a single the other way. And I'm like, I just don't know if now's the time to go into 2-strike mode. Yeah.
And also to the Patrino angle, and this is what I've tried to portray, is like, if Arkansas loses to Auburn, like I'm out on Patrino. Like, because it's like, I can convince myself that losing a 1-possession game on the road against a top 10 team and a 1-possession game at home against a top 5 team is like progress and better. But there's no excuse against Auburn. Like, yes, you're 0-4, they're 0-4. Neither of you are good football teams. But it's like, for me to feel good about Patrino, this is the game you have to win. You have to beat a team that you like. That's not just going to be, such a high standard that you can't get to. Like, they got a lame duck coach and they can't move the football. Like, this is and it's at home. It's a quintessential game that you should win. And if you don't win it, I'm like, you're not going to win any of these games. Yeah. So I want to make that clear that, even if he loses to Auburn, it's like, all right, I'm not going to feel good about this anymore. It's like, I want to do something different. So, but like you said, Andrew, we got to let it play out. We got to let this play out, because
can I just, this might rile some people up, but I want to do the body language expert thing today. Bobby P seemed pretty comfortable in his own skin and his environment up there at that podium today for a guy, coaching for his life on the interim that's 0-2 in his games there. A lot of smiles, joking around, loving life. Smile on his. I'm just saying that it was not lost on me. The body language there was pretty positive for a guy in his situation.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. And John, I'm really glad you said what you said about if they lose to Auburn, it changes everything. That tells me, John, that you're a normal adult with a brain that works, and you're able to just like,
Thank you.
figure things out as they go along. I don't know why, and I want to ask the chat that as well, because again, there's a lot of people who feel firmly that, hey, this is over and Bobby should be the coach. And I'm not here to tell you you're crazy or even that you're wrong. I just want to hear from you guys that if they do lose one or both of these next 2 games, would you feel differently? Because if the answer to that is no, then it tells me that we don't even need to have this conversation, frankly. Like, if you are so committed that them losing a bunch of these games down the stretch wouldn't change your mind, then I don't know why we're having this conversation. And I think it's been the other way, where people like Dan Wolken and other people that hate Bobby have been saying, well, if he wins games, it doesn't matter. And it's like, it has to matter. What do you mean it doesn't matter? Like, it has to matter. These games that they're about to play, there are stakes in them. When you win, we're going to feel differently. You lose, we're going to feel differently. Like, that's how this has to work. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, and I know we'll get to some other chats too, but real quick, to your point, Andrew, it's like, that's the thing that, these coaching searches, I know it's how it goes. It's like, people get so passionate about and you brought up too, Curtis, the urgency of it. And also, like things like the body language, like you brought up, because I agree, like he was looking comfortable. I'm like, these things just keep adding up, where everyone's like, no, Bobby, do not smile. You do not smile. You better not look comfortable and happy, because that means they're going to hide. They're not going to, we might as well just blow up the program right now. Jokes, like, just relax until you know something. And it's like, just the approach and the tension and the passion that everybody has gets riled up. And again, I understand it, but I think that it's kind of like, you have to judge coaches off seasons and everything. It's like, imagine, say if you had a basketball coach and that was going through a regular season, it was not good, whatever, they were barely a tournament team. You're like, we have to fire this guy right now. It's like, okay, well, what if he got to the tournament and went to the Final Four? Like, are you still going to fire him? Like, maybe not, but it's like, just wait till it plays out. Like, they're not going to do anything right now. But man, it's Curse. You just got everybody mad. I'm telling you, you're talking about him, Bobby looking happy and smiling.
Hey, he's chilling, man. He's feeling good. Throwing the jokes out there, relating to his grandkids. What? Big smile on his face, talking about recruiting. Yeah, it was a good weekend, man. We keep grinding like you're gonna be here, full time, long term.
Yeah.
Come on now. Joking with Trey. He was busting Trey Biddy's balls. It's like, hey, 11:45 kickoff early. Is anything change in your prep? He's like, get out of bed earlier, messing with Daniel Shee. He's like talking about starting all 5 offensive linemen every game. And he's like, hey, you're not supposed to say that, man. Like, knock on wood. It doesn't strike me as a guy that's tripping balls about where this is headed. Maybe he's just made peace with it no matter what. Or maybe he knows something we don't. I'm just throwing it out there.
Conspiracy time now, Curtis. Since you brought up the body language, now we got to get into conspiracy zone. Do you think Bobby's the increase in his confidence, do you think that's more of just, hey, the team's playing well and he feels like they're about to go whip Auburn, maybe that's it? Or do you think maybe he's gotten an inclination that he would be supported by people that he would need to have support from in order to become the head coach?
Both of them. That's what I think.
Yeah. I mean, listen, and if I don't care where the confidence is coming from, if it's like that he wants to beat Auburn, or he thinks he's going to beat Auburn and be all right, or if he thinks he's got the job, that's fine too. It's like, just win games and the rest will take care of itself. And it's just the way it is. But we're going to be along for the ride no matter what, folks, as you will be as well, and being tapped in with us. But we'll continue to get a few more of your chats. We'll have best worst of the week. We'll also have a recruiting update to get into as well. But I want to remind everybody here that Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas is the best in the business when it comes to your holiday lighting. We know that Halloween is just like, good grief, it's creeping up on us. It's a week from this Friday. You're going to have Halloween, and it's always fun. And there's a lot of people that use Walter Christmas Lighting for their Halloween lights. They're awesome. We got a lot of compliments on because they do such a great job. But they don't just do Halloween, they do Christmas lighting. It's in their company name. That's what they do. And if you want to have some of the best, most professional looking, incredible lighting for your house to be the talk of the neighborhood, you need to do Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas. They service the Northwest Arkansas as well as the River Valley areas, and they will provide you with the materials. And you can also choose any color, any pattern, and they install the lights. They also give you free maintenance throughout the holiday season. So something happens to where a strand goes out, they'll take care of it. And if you want to get an estimate and find out exactly what it would be and what it would look like for your house, give our guy Brett a text at 479-459-1380. That's 479-459-1380. You can also check out their website at walterchristmaslighting.com or like them on Facebook by scanning the QR code right there on your screen. It's Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas, your local holiday lighting experts. All right, a few of your chats here too. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate all the super chats too. Not just Quinn even. We got a lot of different super chats that are going on here. Let's see. We got Jason coming in saying, I'd take BP now if he gets the money for an elite staff in upper middle of the SEC NIL budget. Oh, okay.
Well,
maybe
upper middle
those circumstances would be very different than the circumstances Arkansas is currently operating under. But yeah, I would also feel differently if the circumstances were different.
Yeah, I would think. I mean, what's
I'll throw this out there. I'm all in on the whole idea of if you save a few bucks on his salary and, you know, being able to give more to NIL. I know a lot of people out there, we've talked about this, like they're under the impression like, oh, what's he making as OC? Like you could double that or whatever and pay him $3.5-4 million to be your head coach. They're just not gonna do that. Like he will, if Bobby Petrino is the head coach, he will make more money than Sam Pittman did doing this job. And so wherever he was at 6.5, whatever, they'll give him more than that. You can't have the lowest, you know, salary in the SEC by a few $1 million and then sell this program to the next guy or whatever. So that's part of it. And the other thing I'll say, money for the elite staff and being able to get an elite staff are two different things. And I think that's one of the conversations with Patrino. He strikes me as more of the Eric Musselman type, where you might not be blown away by the staff that he has surrounded, but he's a good enough mind or whatever to where you can overcome it, as opposed to having like the heavy hitter coordinators, like, you know, like Pittman, for example. I know it wound up getting weird with Odom, but for a while there it was like, okay, he's got Barry Odom and Kendall Briles. Then he got Bobby. Like he was surrounding himself with what you felt like were really solid coaching staff guys. You might need elite money to get an elite type of staff around Bobby. Just if we're looking at, you know, the way history speaks here.
Which, by the way, like, and I think that's very well said, Curtis. I also would say that, like, if we're doing the thing of like, well, why don't you just hire Bobby and then have an elite NIL budget and an elite coaching staff? It's like, cool. Like, I could be interested in that, but it's like, if we're doing that with Bobby, why wouldn't you just do that for whoever your next, you know, whoever the next coach is going to be? Why does it have to be for Bobby? And I understand, you know, you're saying, oh, well, we'd be able to save all this money with him as head coach. What are you saving? Like $3 million a year? You know what I mean? Like you pay Bobby $7 million a year to be your head coach. Yeah, maybe it costs, you know, $10 million a year to get someone like Golish, but it's like, would that $3 million a year disqualify you from having a good staff or having a good NIL? Like, I don't know. So I just feel like if everyone says it's a foregone conclusion that you hire Bobby and you're going to have great NIL and a great staff, well, then would that not also be true for a lot of the coaches you could hire? And by the way, I'm not saying you should be dismissive of it. Like, if there's a coach that can bring a ton of support financially, regardless of how he gets it, I think we should be open to that suggestion, regardless of who it is, whether it's Bobby, whether it's Golish, whether it's John Gruden. I don't even care. It's like, I think that we're being very closed-minded and thinking that Bobby would be the only guy you could hire to where you would have good NIL and a good coaching staff. And in fact, I don't know if Bobby's ever been proficient in any one of those subjects we just listed.
Yeah. And also to the staff side, because even like White River Cafe of Augusta, Arkansas, appreciate it, says if we keep Bobby, what DC games could he get that would make it worthwhile? Need an elite DC because we struggle getting elite talent on defense. I'm going to be honest with you, as apparently the professional and expert on Bobby Petrino and his antics. He is not going to hire just like a defensive coordinator that is just out there, that he has no experience, but they've been really good and they're going to bring him in. That's not how he operates. He operates in a way of that DC is going to run the defense I want, how they want it, and the way that I want it. And is that a good thing or a bad thing? It can be good or it can be bad, but this idea that, you know, it's not going to be a Pittman thing where he's like, I'm going to hire a coach to just coach the defense and I'm going to leave him alone. Nope. That's why you had, I'll never forget, maybe you guys remember this, when Willie Robinson got fired or let go or whatever, when Bobby Petrino was here, there was a guy by the name of Randy Shannon that was coming in for an interview for Arkansas as the defensive coordinator. And I remember I was so pumped because at that time, Randy Shannon was a huge name as a defensive coordinator. And I was like, oh, dude, why wouldn't he want to come here, man? We're coming off of this top 5 team and all that. And he interviewed, and reports said that he said no to the job. I'm like, how would you say no? He said no because Patrino was like, this is what you're going to do and this is how you're going to do it. And Randy's like, nah, I'm not going to do that. So
he demands the same things out of his defensive coordinators, and, you know, maybe puts the same handcuffs on him that Jimbo Fisher did him at Texas A&M as the OC, right. You know, and I don't think he liked that too much, but there is something about that where I'm like, I don't know, is turnabout fair play? But yeah, I think I understand the premise. In a perfect world, I think that would be awesome. But just knowing his track record and history, like I wouldn't expect the grand slam DC hire.
Same. And that's what Heartbroken Hog here says, where he says, everyone says, keep get a good DC, as if he's literally ever done that. And I agree with everything you guys just said. And none of it, by the way, none of what we just said, which is all true, would disqualify Bobby from changing his ways, maybe convincing some other DC to fill. But that's why I'm with you guys in that. I think it's a dangerous assumption to just assume, well, if we hire Bobby, we're going to have a loaded coaching staff. We're going to have a top NIL budget. We're going to be able to recruit. And it's like, none of these things are things that Bobby has ever done in his entire career. Literally 1 year ago today, he was like, I never want to play the NIL game. I'm completely uninterested in it. And listen, he's changed his stance. I'm sure he feels differently about it now, but assuming that he's going to crush it there is interesting. Assuming that a guy who's never had a good coaching staff around him is going to magically just find a great coaching staff is a dangerous assumption. And assuming that he's going to just become a great recruiter overnight is a dangerous assumption, in my opinion.
Yeah. And also, too, what happened when he became the offensive coordinator at Arkansas? The offensive coach has changed. You know, he went and got his running back coach, his wide receiver coach. Like, he kept on Mateos and he kept on Morgan Turner, but he went and got his guys.
Mateos, who he was very complimentary of today. He was asked about him, but pretty glowing review there of the job that he's done, kind of rebuilding this thing, recruiting them. It was interesting when he was talking about recruiting guys back. Like, obviously they lost some to the portal or whatever, but the ones that they got back, and he's like, you got to re-recruit them nowadays. So yeah, he was giving some flowers to Mateos. Maybe he'll keep him around if he gets the job.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael Badley says we should go after Garrett Riley as our head coach. I know he is an offense coordinator, but it's Lincoln Riley's brother.
So I got to be honest. We appreciate the super chat, Michael. We do. And we're being nice here on this program. Is a really tough sell for me. I think it's very likely. It's more likely that Garrett Riley gets relieved of his duties at Clemson than it is that he gets an SEC head coaching job. In my humble opinion, I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy in the room or whatever, but I think it's very possible Garrett Riley gets fired at Clemson by the end of the year. He's doing an absolute stinker of a job this year.
You could have said this to me during fall camp. You know what I mean? And I would have been like, that's interesting. Like, you know, like we've got some coordinators on our little hot board. I'd be like, oh yeah, throw them on there. We can talk about this. We can explore it further. But Clemson was built in a lab to be really, really good this year. You got Klubnik back for like his 5th year or whatever. So many guys who've been within the program, they do it differently. Like, they didn't have to go out to the portal and get a bunch of guys. This is a playoff team that returned everyone. And yeah, it's been really, really stinky over there. So yeah, we could have had this conversation a couple months ago, and I'd be like, oh, you know, that's kind of interesting. Now, pass for me.
Yeah. Honestly, I would say just watch Clemson play football, and you know they're not as horrible as their 3-4 record indicates, but like watch them play offense. It's not a super well-oiled machine. There's a lot of dysfunction over there. So much so that, like I said, it's very possible he gets relieved of his duties either in this year or next year.
And we'll get to a best and worst of the week. And also, Arkansas says, Curtis, thoughts on Acuff, 20th on ESPN newcomer list.
Okay, my only question about this before I can really weigh in on it, and looks like I'm going to have to do that on the Pot at the Palace again, is this freshmen or is it just newcomers in general? Like, does this include transfers? Because if it's just people who are newcomers on their teams, then maybe I think it's a little low, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't really be tripping about it. If this is like just freshmen only, that's crazy work. But I'll go look at the rest of the list. I haven't seen it yet, and I'll throw that in. I've got some odds and ends at the end of Pot at the Palace plan for the day anyway. So
okay. Well, I know you'll address it, but yeah, it's apparently just all transfers, not just freshmen. So
okay, well then maybe that's not so bad. But I will make sure that I talk about this and point out every single guy that I think is a wrong answer.
Yeah. Boogie Flans at 15. It's terrible. It's terrible stuff. But anyway, we'll get more.
He's going to be really good too.
I know.
And what I've heard a lot about him over at Florida is they're just saying like he is the stickiest defender that they've had over there in a while. That he's just giving people hell. He did some things defensively early in the year last year where I was like, okay, but if he's really turning into like a lockdown defender and the thumb's healthy, he's gonna be a 40% 3-point shooter. He already had the assist to turnover. He'll be an All-American, and it's really going to piss me off.
What's good about Boogie, though, is like he's going to have probably 10 games this year where we all look at it and we're like, 12 for 18. He hit 5 threes. Oh, man, he's cooking. As we know, though, he's going to have a game where he's 4 for 14, and we're like, well, Boogie, you having fun over there? Missing the mid-range? You know, we'll have plenty of opportunities to dunk and be sad.
Well, just maybe he got contacts too, like old Big Z, and now it's just suddenly he's just going to become an All-American. It's like in the movie Major League when Rick Vaughn gets the glasses and suddenly he can throw a fastball. It's like, hey, Big Z getting contacts over there, he'll be able to start hitting his threes a little bit more.
I loved how many people made that like an anti-Cal thing. Like, wow, Cal wouldn't give him glasses. What a
Cal denied him eye care from the eye center.
Man shot 40% from 3 on volume last year. Seeing the rim wasn't his issue.
Could have been 60 though, Curtis. Could have been 60 if he just went to the eye center of Fayetteville.
Man, oh man.
He wasn't able to find his way to the weight room. That was the problem, Curtis.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And then I saw a lot of people like automatically were like BBN doing their thing. It was like, oh, you've reached the next chapter in the John Calipari book. The Harrison twins, they couldn't see either, and didn't even know that this was a thing. But yeah, like Big Z's vision, not an issue.
Yeah. And also too, like what coach is like players like, coach, I can't see the rim. Get over it. It's like, no, they probably say, okay, well, let's do what we need to do to help you see. Like, it's not like rub some dirt on it, kid, and make your eyes better naturally. Like, that's just not a thing. This is not a thing. But we will have some more of your chats though, folks. I do want to get the best and worst of the week, and it's presented by our friends over at Bet Saracen's #1 sports betting app. A lot of people showed up to the Bet Saracen tailgate, which was awesome because of those storms and weather. It was wild, but seeing Darren McFadden, the GOAT, and him getting honored and all that great stuff. He was at the tailgate and signing autographs, and it was just awesome. It was an awesome thing, and they are the best when it comes to sports betting here in the state of Arkansas. It's not even close. And when you use Bet Saracen, if you're new to it, be sure to download the app by clicking the link below or scanning that QR code on your screen, because when you download it, it'll take you right to it, and you can have an option to enter in a code to where you can bet $25 and you get $125. It's the best deal ever, and you have to use the code INSIDEAR. Use that code, and it's as simple as that. You will get the great special that they have going on right now, where you bet $25, get $125. If you feel like the Razorbacks are going to destroy Auburn this week, we'll do it with Bet Saracen. It's Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. So again, download the app today using the link below, or you can scan that QR code and use Inside AR, where you bet $25 and you get $125 with Bet Saracen, which actually shout out to Quinn, because he was asking the question, will I be able to use the Bet Saracen as an out-of-stater when I get in Arkansas on Wednesday? You will. So Quinn, as soon as you land on that plane, you better get on to Bet Saracen and download the app and start putting some money down. I'm telling you right now. And you got to use our link and our code. But
I was going to say, yeah, we got something for you, man.
Yep. Yeah, you can make it happen. So, all right. So let's do a little of our best and worst of the weekend. We'll also get to your chats and a recruiting update. Appreciate everybody. But my best of the weekend is actually something from just the game, the crowd. I know that's been talked about, but the storms and everything that moved through, it was stupid. Like, just of all the things, the morning was really nice, and the game, I'm glad they pushed back the game 2 hours just because of the weather. It ended up being really nice. But overall, it was solid. But the crowd, I was extremely impressed by. I was expecting 35,000, 40,000, because, people travel. It takes time to get up there and everything. But I don't know what the exact number was, but it felt like there's probably 60,000 plus there. And that was incredible. That was really great. And so shout out to the crowds. Shout out to everything. And actually play this clip real quick, because Bobby Petrino was asked about the crowds today from his press conference. That's included my best.
Yeah, the crowd was awesome. To have that change time, and to have the amount of rain that came down, the blizzard condition there for a while. I'm thinking, man, is anyone going to be here? We need this home field advantage. We need some help. And man, everyone came out and did an unbelievable job, stayed there, kept cheering our players on. I know that it motivated our players. I know they felt it. And that's just a credit to all of our fans and everybody that came, because it was really exciting for them.
So blizzard conditions.
Yeah. Back in my day, we used to walk uphill both ways to school in the snow. Those blizzard conditions on a 70-degree day, it's crazy. But it did hail, and I'm sure that's what he was talking about there. Shout out to, I don't know if I should give you a shout out or not, John. What did you do during that time? Did you stay out there? Did you at least get in the truck? Did you stay under the tent? That's risky business, man.
Stayed under the tent.
Wow.
A metal tent. But it was fine because we were under trees. Trees
Okay.
never get hit by lightning. So, no, we were brilliant people that day. But here's the thing. My buddy Steve's went out there with about 100 pounds of concrete and latched all the legs down. We tied the things to the tents to the vehicles and everything. It actually did it. I would never recommend doing it again. It was really stupid of us, but we're stupid people. It wasn't as bad as we thought it would be, but it was definitely dumb. But yeah, it was fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that, man.
But anyways, yeah, I wanted to just give a shout out to the fans. Everybody showed up. The McFadden honoring was really cool. Hearing him talk, I put up the video of it. That just gave me tears, chills down my spine. I'm like, man, that guy, I love that man. So it was just, for all intents and purposes, given the circumstances, it was a great atmosphere, great everything. Did a lot of great things. Shout out to all the fans a part of it.
Yeah, that was cool. The crowd seemed super lively there, man. So good on them. Wasn't sure what to expect under normal circumstances, but given everything, that it was pretty rowdy there. So that was awesome. And the guys played hard. They deserve that. So I like it. And boy, Bobby Petrino, that body language, man, he seemed pretty excited about it.
Seemed
They
chill
loved
up
it here. Yeah, he did. That's good stuff. Best of the weekend for me. It's Milestone Monday. Wesley has joined the 10-pound club. We found out today. So good on him for being a growing boy. Yeah. Hey, dude, you should see the beer belly after he eats, man. It's kind of funny, but happy for him, man. That's cool. He's growing like a weed. But I had a couple more. One, I was really OKC Hog. I just want to apologize to you, man, because I was wanting to play the clip of Alex Golish late in that game that they were winning by 35 points. And he was teeing off on some of his guys on offense for not executing what he was looking for. It was like that Nick Saban energy of, no, it doesn't matter time and score. Like, we are locked in every single play. And that's the kind of stuff that fires Razorback fans up, and you'll move them up on your list for that. So I was trying to do you a solid, but whatever, terrorist attack has happened on the internet infrastructure today. I know Trey's website was down for a while, and some of the things that we use have been down. I'm actually surprised that StreamYard is working. That's great. But I've been trying to download that video for like an hour and a half, and I can't do it. So I apologize, man. I didn't get to show you that, but that was going to be one for me. I thought that was really cool. And my only other one, first of all, shout out to UCLA for getting another win. They beat Maryland. I love that their Twitter account put out shell shocked for beating the Terps. I thought that was clever. And then Neuheisel, man, like the interim OC, nobody has a clue who the actual interim head coach is for UCLA. Yeah. Nobody knows. I don't know his name. But I know that this young man looking like sunshine out there just continues to kill it. And they're feeding into it. He's going to get a job of some sort at UCLA moving forward. I can almost guarantee that now. It's just kind of a cool story, man. And they continue to do good things there. I listened to his little speech again, and for whatever reason, I just can't help but to like that guy. So good on him.
It's funny in college football, and that's what makes college football so great is you have these like stories that play out with these massive programs that have all these huge stakes, but they are determined by random things happening. The James Franklin Penn State story is like the biggest story in college football. Does not happen if UCLA does not fire their coach after an 0-4, 0-5 start or whatever, and you have this little dweeb calling plays. It's just great stuff. So I've got two best of the weekend. One, I got to start with the most important thing in the world, high school football. Is there anything better than when your alma mater in high school beats your rival? Like, dude, like when you catch wind of it, like you're just surfing Twitter and you find out that your high school beat the absolute piss out of your rival. It just fires me up. So I love to tell people this. My junior year at Alexandria Senior High, we went 1-9 in football. And our coach was a retired Northwestern State coach who got bored and was like, I kind of want to coach high school again. They let him coach for a few years. They were horrible. 1-9. And then they, move on from him, bring in a new guy, Thomas Bachman, who has now been there. That was 2015. He's now been there 10 years. We beat Pineville my senior year in Pineville. It was really awesome. It was like a back-and-forth game. The program is now to a point where now we're competing for state titles, and we're one of the best teams in the state. They played Pineville Friday, and it was 49-3 at halftime. And the coaches did a handshake agreement, running clock, keep the clock running, don't do anything. So the final score ended up being 49-3. 49-3 at halftime in what used to be a great rivalry game. They have not lost since I left high school. that fills me with so much joy. And all my siblings graduated from Pineville. So I was, of course, texting my siblings, texting my brother who's like 42 and doesn't care at all. I'm like, my high school whipped your ass. Love that. Wanted to give a shout out to my boys. Shout out to the Trojans. I would also like to give a shout out to the greatest baseball player of all time, Shohei Ohtani, man. Can we give the man some love? I got like 5 texts on Friday night. I was actually going to see Nikki Glazer. Shout out to our boy Bill. Great show, great production. We had a great time at Goat Lab at the Grove Comedy Club up in Lowell. We had a great time at Nikki Glazer. When I got out, I had like 5 texts about Shohei Ohtani, which just tells me that I'm doing something right in life, that people are texting me when Shohei has good moments. For those that missed it, in a clincher to send his team to the World Series, 3 home runs on the plate, 6 innings, 10 strikeouts, no runs on the mound. I mean, he's literally the GOAT, bro. Like I don't know what else we're supposed to say at this point. The people that don't get it with Shohei or just don't want to get it, they're just lost. And there are people who just don't understand what's going on here. I mean, hell, even going back to his rookie year, people were like, "Oh, he's not even an MLB hitter." I mean, is it really that valuable? The two-way thing. I mean, he's the GOAT. Like, let's just call it what it is. We're witnessing history. You're gonna want to remember when your grandkids say, "Papa, what was it like watching Shohei Ohtani?" Because they are going to ask you. You need to be prepared to have an answer. So acknowledge Shohei.
Yeah, no, I'm with you too. I've always looked at it, it's like, is somebody doing something that's unique, unheard of, like you, and at the highest level and the biggest moments, which I know they're not in the World Series yet, but like maybe you have to just start recognizing that it's pretty impressive what he's doing.
The biggest misconception of all time is that Babe Ruth did what Shohei is doing. Like, Babe Ruth is literally the guy that we, growing up, it's like, oh, who's the best baseball? It's Babe Ruth. Even Babe Ruth did not pitch and hit in the same seasons. He did pitching full-time and then went to hitting full-time. Even he, in 1909 against Plumbers, they were like, this isn't sustainable. Let's just do one or the other. And Shohei's doing both. Like, it's unreal.
Yeah. I just got a few quick real the best before I move on. And maybe one of these is your guys' worst, but really hoping Tony Vitello leaves Tennessee to go to the Giants. That was a hilarious thing going on Saturday with that report. I guess
we got to wait on that.
Yeah, we got to wait at least 72 hours, 24 to 72 hours. Apparently we got to wait on that. So that was outstanding. Also, Dan Mullen 0.0 on Twitter. A chance of him taking the Arkansas job was interesting to say the least. So I guess that happened Friday after our show, but that was pretty great. And also, real quick, the as much as some people may hate it, I at least can respect it and appreciate it because I always am here for a solid trolling job. But Texas A&M, man, when they beat Arkansas, went hog wild with a Texas A&M player riding a motorcycle. I wonder why they chose a motorcycle. I don't know. It's interesting. It's like Arkansas's known for that. Maybe they forgot Bikes, Booze, and Barbecue was actually like last week. Like maybe they forgot. Anyways. That was a few of my just random best. Worst of the weekend, I'll throw in. Can I make it to where it's like the Auburn situation where they just didn't make a move on Hugh Freeze when they should have? Because it keeps getting added into it. Like you had Billy Napier get fired and some other coaches, but Hugh Freeze, they're just hanging tough there. And I just saw a quote for Hugh Freeze during his press conference today. He was asked what a statement of support would mean from AD John Cohen. And he says with a smile, well, that would be huge. Would make everyone feel a lot better. It's like, oh gosh, man, this is brutal.
Begging for a statement.
Brutal. So that's a situation where it's just like the coaching carousel and the craziness going along with it is wild. But, because I guess you had the weird situation with Mike Norvell over at Florida State, which is like, oh, he's getting fired or not. I don't know. Just there's a lot of weirdness going on and a lot of funniness happening. And it's like, last year nobody got fired, but this year it's just chaos. And so, but either way, I just feel like my worst, I guess maybe I'll make that my worst of the weekend is just the coaching carousel nonsense that goes along with it and the real negative side of all of it that goes on too.
Yeah. Crazy how different athletic departments handle these situations. I just cannot believe Florida State did the vote of confidence for Norvell. Like, hey, we're not making a change this year. There's a difference in like what's happened at certain places in there. Like they've quit on him. Like it's very clear out there on the field. I saw some of those videos circulating about with Norvell, like the team huddle before halftime and different things. And guys just like walking away and not paying attention, talking to each other while he's giving a speech. I'm like, good grief, man. But yeah, that's your guy. And I guess Wisconsin just did the thing where they're like, hey, no, actually, you need to just donate more, as opposed to us firing Luke Fickell. And it's like, man, they just got shut out in back-to-back games. This is wild, bro. I'm gonna stick in the same vein, but I'm gonna add a twist to it for my worst of the weekend. My worst of the weekend is Mississippi State football. How bad must you suck to where a team beats you and they still fire their coach? Like, that's the ultimate sign of disrespect to me. Like, it doesn't matter. Oh, that's real cute. Yeah, we picked up an SEC win here. Billy, you're still out, brother. Beating Mississippi State is not your saving grace. Sorry about you.
I mean, Curtis, is that about to happen in Arkansas this weekend though, where Auburn beats them by 3 and then fires you on Sunday? Like, it's
potentially.
It's extremely possible, right?
And then Arkansas will be my worst of the weekend next week if that happens.
I'm glad you mentioned Mississippi State. Like, they were the team that got a lot of credit for being 4-1 or whatever they were, and they beat Arizona State, which is a cool win. But I've been watching them the last few weeks, and I'm like, I actually don't think there's much there. Like, I watched them play A&M, and I don't know what the final was, maybe 31-10 or something like that. But they looked like completely outmatched against A&M, which, A&M's good. There's no shame in that. I mean, we talk about games Arkansas should be favored in. If Arkansas is not favored and doesn't beat Mississippi State by a comfortable margin, then Arkansas really does suck. But I'm sticking with football for a little bit. My worst, I always look for which team, pro or college, had the worst loss of the weekend, like just for their program or just the way. The New York Giants, dude, 33 points allowed in the fourth quarter. It's giving up 33 in the fourth quarter alone. Like, that's tough. They scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and still blew a 23-point lead. Like, that is unbelievable. It cracks me up. Like, you remember back in the day, about 5 or 6 years ago, coaches or colleges and NFL teams would start having like guys who were in the front office that were like analytics, go for it on fourth down specialists or clock management specialists. And they would kind of have people on staff who were dedicated to do this. And then the football community pushed back against this. And they were like, no, we don't need numbers in football. We don't need all this. So now nobody really does it. It's crazy how many like NFL and college teams that are run by people smarter than us, like people that are great football coaches, that do not value this stuff at all. The Giants literally would have won Sunday if they had just simply, every time they snap the ball, let the play clock get below 10. Just let the play clock get below 10. Let it play out, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. You can make it work, but they are throwing the ball. They're snapping it with 21 seconds left on the play clock. Jackson Dart, rookie quarterback, who played pretty well, by the way, made some nice plays. He ends up throwing a horrible pick. You give up 33 points. You miss an extra point, which would have put you up 3 with like 30 seconds left. You end up losing by 1. I mean, it's just the worst possible way to lose. And credit to Bo Nix, by the way, who I still hate Bo Nix. Like, still, I will never admit Bo Nix is good at football. Like, he literally could win 3 straight Super Bowls, and I'd be like, yeah, but just not really feeling it. But credit to Bo Nix, who's got a really good defense. The Broncos are a legitimate Super Bowl threat somehow, some way. But that's a horrible loss for the Giants and Brian Dable.
Was that was I not mistaken when seeing that they were also shut out in the first 3 quarters, so they didn't score a single point in the 3 quarters, and they
3-0, and then they scored a touch. They had the ball going into the fourth quarter. They scored a touchdown with I think it was 14-14 left in the fourth quarter or whatever. They scored a touchdown to make it 23-8, and then they scored a touchdown to make it 23-16. It's like it was a whole long thing, and the Giants scored 2 touchdowns and still blew the lead. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, no, that is just. Yeah, that's insane. That's insane. We'll get to your chats finally, folks. We're close up, but also we got to get to, of course, our recruiting update presented by our friends over at Goat Lab Red, as well as Goat Lab Brewery, and where Nikki Glazier was, of course, doing the Grove Comedy Show from this past Friday. They got it always going on when it comes to Goat Lab Brewery, and Goat Lab Red in Fayetteville is the place to be for your Razorback pregame, your post-game action, even during the game. A lot of you probably went over there to just get out of the rain, get out of the lightning, get out of the storm and everything. Well, guess what? They had all the games on. They had all the great wings. They had all the great signature burgers. And, of course, the signature brews like Razorback, Tusk, and Tusk Light. It's an awesome spot there at 1214 North Garland Avenue. And if you need a place to check out all of the games, to hang out pre or post game, or to watch Inside Arkansas live each and every day at noon, they're open for lunch. You can see it at Goat Lab Red. So check them out again at 1214 North Garland Avenue. It's Goat Lab Red, your new game day tradition. And without further ado, let's go ahead and hear from our guy, Dudley Dawson, on this past weekend's recruiting update.
Covering recruiting and the transfer portal for the Razorbacks. This is Inside Arkansas Recruiting with Dudley Dawson.
Welcome into this Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast update sponsored by Goat Lab Brewery. I'm your host, Dudley Dawson. Wanted to touch on a few things here on a Monday. Expected there was going to be 12 college coaches out of work after this weekend, but Michael Alford, the Florida State athletic director, has decided to give his head coach, Mike Norville, the former UCA player, Arkansas native, a vote of confidence. He's going to assess that at the end of the season. Why is that interesting to Arkansas, you might ask? Well, there's several Arkansas connections on that team down there. Obviously, they have an offensive coordinator, Gus Malzahn, who's always mentioned for the Arkansas job when it comes open. One of the guys, though, I'm focusing on is the defensive coordinator, Tony White, who's somebody that has one of the brighter stars in college football, expected to be a head coach for the line. But to get a defensive coordinator like that, if you could, for Arkansas, would be a big pickup. Also, Justin Krause is a former Arkansas assistant recruiting director here, who's there at Florida State now. And also Robert Scott, the offensive lineman from Conway, somebody I really liked back in the day, is an offensive lineman there. So any changes there might spur him to come back home. We'll have to see. We'll keep up with the updates, again, sponsored by Goat Lab Brewery, as we go along with things here.
All right, that was Zoe Dawson with your Inside Arkansas recruiting update here, presented by Goat Lab Red in Fayetteville. Appreciate Dudley, and catch this podcast wherever podcasts are found, because it is weird crazy with the recruiting right now, but it's definitely going to continue to pick up as Arkansas gets closer to finding a permanent coach. So, all right, a few of your chats, folks, before we get out for the day. Austin also says, Curtis, it's basketball season. Who's going to be the most fun SEC team to watch this year other than Arkansas, or other than the Hogs? Also, FBBN.
Hell yeah, brother. I mean, as much as I hate to say it, because I'm not a fan of their coach, it's going to be Alabama. Just the style that they play. I don't think they're as good as they have been in years past. In fact, I think their front court might be a little sus. We'll see how that winds up playing out, but they still got a bunch of guards who can shoot it. They're still going to play really, really fast and get up and down. I enjoy watching that type of up-tempo basketball. I'll also say, and I'm not sure how good they're going to be. It's going to take them a while to figure some things out, get gelled. You got a whole new roster and a new coach there, but Auburn has a lot of talented pieces, like a lot of individual talent that I like there. I enjoyed watching both of those teams play in their exhibition games. So those would be two off the top there. But yeah, I mean, everybody's ready to watch the Hogs, man.
No Mississippi State.
And no Mississippi State.
By the way, what time is that? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say maybe a good honorable mention and throw in there would be Texas A&M. I'm really interested to see how Buckyball looks in the SEC. Because, Buzz Williams, man, it was boring. It was slow. It was just offensive rebounds and get to the free throw line. It'd be like 3.5 hour games when you played them. Complete contrast of styles. And Buck and McMillan, he likes to press for 40 minutes and get up and down, up tempo. It's a really exciting brand of basketball. I don't know if you can get high major talented caliber players to buy into doing that. So we'll see, but that could be a fun team to watch if they buy in.
Very quickly, we're going to move on. Just yes or no question, Curtis. Am I crazy for thinking the SEC is just substantially worse at basketball this year?
Worse than the best
last year
season in history? No, you're not crazy to think that.
Okay, I didn't know. Is that the consensus though? That they're going to be like everyone pretty much is a step back.
Yeah, it's still the best league in the country, I think, but there ain't no way in hell they're getting 14, teams in again, and it's definitely not as deep of a league. It's not as deep of a country in terms of college
Right.
basketball. I learned that putting together a top 25, but yeah, I think it takes a step back for sure.
Great. Okay, good job, Curtis. Now, if Arkansas wins the SEC, everyone's going to be like, well, the SEC sucks. It's not as good as it was a year ago. So, Cal, you can't give him credit for that. I mean, it's just come on.
Yeah, he won't he cut down the nets in Indianapolis. They wouldn't give him credit for it.
Yeah. What a terrible year for college basketball. I mean, Cal's over here winning a title. It's bad if Calipari's winning a title. Jeez. Let's see. Also, I like this from Bro Casey. It made me laugh too. He says, OKC. He's like, exactly. Alex Golesh needs to be a hedgehog. It's like
exactly what I was thinking, man. that tickled me. I like
also OKC. We're putting that belt on your ass tomorrow. Rockets, Thunder. I saw him asking about that in the chat. Yeah, opening night. Statements being made.
Okay.
Yeah, he meant head hog, by the way, everybody. But it was funny because he's hedgehog. Because he does kind of look like a hedgehog too. Like he's kind of got that vibe to him.
It's good stuff.
Let's see, Jacoda. What you got to see, Jacoda? I want to bring some of it at the game. He said, John, you were right about your feeling you had at the game. Ha ha ha. Couldn't get over the hump. It's like, yeah. I talked to Jacoda there. I can't remember if it was at halftime or between the third and fourth quarter. He's like, man, how you feeling? I'm like, it's going to go this. I mean, I'm excited, but we know how it's going to go. And so and lo and behold, that held true. So it was good to see you, Jacoda. Tyler says, is there any possibility that one of these teams call Patrino for a job opening, and would he take it if he's only interested in Arkansas? Sure, swing for the fence and he be your backup plan.
I don't foresee a scenario where Patrino is a viable head coaching candidate for any of these major jobs out there. Like Colorado State fired Jay Norvell, like something like that, maybe. But nothing on the same level of job as Arkansas, I don't think.
I mean, and I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, think about it. Think about all the things that had to play out a specific way, and then even the mental gymnastics that we still have to do just for Bobby Petrino to be considered at Arkansas, where he is currently serving as the head coach. I just don't see Auburn doing all of that. I don't even see Kentucky doing all of that. If there were an SEC job, it'd be Kentucky, but Kentucky wouldn't do it. You couldn't fire Mark Stoops and hire Bobby Petrino and expect people to be cool with that. I personally, and I'm not even saying that because I think people, when we say this, people think it's like we're knocking Bobby, and it's like it's really not even a knock on Bobby or his capability or his success that he's had in the past. I just don't think any of these SEC programs are in a position to hire him.
And only thing I'll add to that is like the only way that, because I agree with you, but the only way that anybody actually gets interested is if Bobby starts winning games here at Arkansas, like in these final stretch, and then some people are like, hey, like Bobby won 4 games or 3 games over there at Arkansas. We should just hire him. That would be the only way I'd see him being considered for any of these major jobs, at least. David says you have to make Auburn play from behind. Well, good luck. Because you don't do that very well. So, but yeah, sure. Also, actually, I'm not going to do that one. Where was the other one that I want? Oh, sorry. Yeah, Quinn, you had some super chats. You wanted to bring them up real quick. It says it's the first time ever in Fayetteville. So we got that answered. Nice. He also said this could be the most crazy coaching carousel. Florida, LSU, Auburn, Florida State, Arkansas, Virginia Tech, Okie State, and NC State, most likely.
You could get some LSU, Ole Miss lumped in there if there's some certain things.
The dominoes could get wild.
Maybe dude. Missouri, Drink takes a job. Yeah, there are pathways to just some absolute anarchy taking place.
Yeah, I would love to see LSU, because I mean, now can they finally ditch the narrative like every coach at LSU's won a national championship? It's like, yeah, thank you for Brian Kelly not being that guy and getting fired. That would make me very happy. And then Quinn also says I'll be getting tickets in the next couple of days, Curtis and Andrew. So
hell yeah, brother.
No, man, we're good.
Yep, I think it'll be great, man. It'll be great. Let's see. I think just real quick before we get out, just some few free stuff, because he was asked about the quarterback situation. He says we're looking at everything, and then he says Jackson Arnold and Ashton Daniels will both get plenty of reps this week. So be looking on the quarterback situation.
He said right after that he expects Jackson Arnold to start.
Oh,
but
there you go.
Still, I'm like, if all of a sudden you're splitting reps, and we know how this is going to go. If they have any situational awareness at all, they go with the backup against Arkansas.
Yeah. So. Hey, I know we talked about Jackson Arnold's athleticism. If Ashton Daniels is the Ashton Daniels I think he is, which I think he is from Stanford, cannot throw the ball at all, but he is a freak athlete. Like I'm talking about, he's going to make he's going to make Xavier Sori. His shoes are going to fly out of the stadium if he gets in the game.
Yeah. Finally, Quinn sends another super chat that this fan base would riot if we went after Bobby. Well, hey, y'all didn't riot when you went and hired Gene Chizik, who was 5-19 at Iowa State. So I don't know if you'll actually riot.
Auburn would never hire a disgraced, morally ambiguous SEC offensive-minded coach ever. Would never do that. Trust me.
Yeah, that would never happen. They've never done that before. All right. Well, guys, any final thoughts before we roll out of here for the day?
The Ratliff twins are not coming to Arkansas. Everyone have a good day.
Well, that stinks.
Yeah. I don't have any final thoughts. I had a good time on the show today, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. We love you. Woo pig.
Put it mildly and put it simply. No, I agree. Be sure to subscribe to us here in Inside Arkansas as we're going to keep it moving and rolling. And remember to come out to Alumni Hall this Friday as we'll be streaming Inside Arkansas live from there from 12 to 2 at 3417 North College Avenue. And we got Razorback basketball, an exhibition game happening on Friday. It's real like game action, not a real game, but game action. You'll be able to check out on Friday. And then, of course, Razorback football on Saturday. So it's going to be a great week and weekend as we get to the best time of year here in October. But appreciate everybody. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to check out all of our audio podcasts wherever they're found, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live, Pout at the Palace, Bombastic Podcast, Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast, and check us out on social media at Inside Arkansas as well. That'll do it for us today. For Andrew Ellis, Curtis Wilkerson, as well as intern Cameron, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Tomorrow at noon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you then.